What do you say, guys? Hit that like. All right, what do you say we hop right into it? What do you say we hop right into it? Not a moment to waste. What's going on, guys? I'm Boston Brian. I appreciate you joining me for the second time today for the night show. Hit that like button on the way in. Subscribe to the channel on our way to 15K. Lots to talk about. Again, I mean, it's crazy when you can do 2 shows in one day and still have so much to cover. But, you know, we got this that I was talking about this morning. I finally went back and found the spot where I covered this video where Donald Trump was talking to Greg Kelly. And I was talking about where he was, you know, threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, and somehow I blew right by it. So I went back and found that. So I just want to take a look at that real quick. We'll also be taking a look at some more ICE, some more Gestapo, ICE, brown shirt, black shirt, thugs in the video violence that we've been seeing ongoing from them. We got a multitude of different videos. Some of them you've seen, some of them you may not have seen. We'll also be talking about the breaking news that's going around right now where, let me see here. I think it's this one. Yeah. Where this kind of just popped off in the media where Israel and Hamas have signed a complete ceasefire agreement, which will go into effect across the Gaza Strip on Thursday, October 9th at 12 p.m. That's Cairo time, according to the Saudi Al Hadath news agency. And then there's a little more information on that we'll dive into as well. We'll be taking a look at MAGA's latest Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories, as well as Ukraine has been like literally leveling up, stepping up their attacks. I think they've hit 3 or 4 different oil refineries in the last 3 or 4 days. It might even be more than that at this point, but we'll be taking a look at a Ukraine Matters video that kind of gives us the update on that. I believe there's an Arturehi video if we need to kind of dive into that as well. What else do we got? We got, this is like something we got to take a look at where Trump is, oh no, did it already reset? I had it stopped at the right moment in time too, but that's okay. But this is Donald Trump's Antifa press conference that he had where apparently now it's illegal to burn the flag. You get a year and it's like incitement. Not only that, but he went around the room of this right-wing, I don't know, it was like a fucking right-wing creator convention basically. And they just went around to try to shit on what they are calling Antifa nowadays. So we'll definitely take a look at that. There's a few clips that I want to take a look at if we don't get into the whole, rigmarole. I want to see where he took some questions as well, or at least where he started passing it around the room. But we got a lot to get into as well. So I appreciate you guys for joining. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. I would very much appreciate it. What do you say we get the self-promotional bullshit out of the way? I should probably make a better point of doing this at the beginning of every show. That way we get it out of the way, and that way it's done every single show. But there are no paywalls. There is nothing that I'm selling you. I hope to continue this streak of not talking to any sponsors or having any benefactors. That would be the goal, the ultimate goal of this independent media station that we've created here. And it's only with the help and the appreciation and the support of you guys. So again, there's a Venmo up in the corner just to remind you if you want to go ahead and bust a buck and try your luck. That's all I ask for is a buck or two. Anything beyond that is totally up to you. There's also you can become a channel member just underneath me. That really goes a long way in helping run away to 1,000 memberships there, or you can join us at patreon.com/Boston Brian. There's a great community there as well where we have monthly Zoom meetings where we kind of get to see face to face and put a face to the screen names that you see in the chat so often. So I would appreciate you guys. And again, there's super stickers, super chats. You can gift memberships in the chat. And then at the end of every show, I give everybody their dues. I give everybody their highlights, and I kind of give everybody the shout outs that they deserve for the appreciation that they showed during the chat. So I thank you guys very much. Thank you, mods, as always. And thank you, everybody else in the chat, for being here with me. What do you say we dive into just a little bit of the craziness? Should we get into, what do you say we get into just a little bit? We'll start with the breaking news, and then we'll get into the clips after, all right? Let me put this back on the screen. So this was something that came out, I believe, the last half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Where Israel and Hamas has signed a complete ceasefire agreement, again, like I said, which will go into effect tomorrow, Thursday, October 9th at 12 Eastern. That is Cairo time. And this kind of gives us a little bit more as to what was discussed. And again, we're kind of taking this with a grain of salt. This is coming with a heavy dose of skepticism on my end here. I'm not very, optimistic as to how not as to how this is going to turn out in the long run. This is the very early stages of this negotiation. Again, any progress is good progress. I will get that off my chest real quick, but this is it puts us in a similar position of like the other wars, some of the other wars that Donald Trump said he's ended for good, where it may have come to a ceasefire as of now, but there are still some major talking points and some major sticking points that need to be hashed out. A lot of this has to do with like how Hamas is going to be disarmed, and who's going to go ahead and lead this area going in the future, where the IDF is going to end up at the end of all this. So there's a lot of things still to be determined. This says today's ceasefire deal agreed upon in Egypt calls for Israel to partially withdraw from Gaza and for Hamas to release the remaining hostages it is currently holding. Though issues such as the process for disarming Hamas and the future governing structure of the Gaza Strip still need to be negotiated, according to Axios' Barak Ravid and Dave Lawler. So again, some huge sticking points, but seemingly something going in the right direction. But this is basically just telling me that Hamas has basically just agreed to the terms, right? I mean, we knew that before this, that Israel had already signed on to whatever the deal was, and that Donald Trump was trying to give them credit for some sort of ceasefire that in the last, I don't know, several days, you can see this Democracy Now! Kind of tells us here. So Israeli forces kill 8 Palestinians across Gaza in the past 24 hours alone. And then it goes on to say at least 118 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks since Friday, when Trump called on Israel to halt its strikes, right? So that's since Donald Trump came out demanding that Israel stop so that we can kind of continue on with these negotiations. And again, it's hard for me to kind of believe that any government or any country that just recently stopped a humanitarian aid mission, the flotilla, from bringing aid into this area, and has been known to be stopping aid trucks for quite some time, is in any way ready to see this area come back to govern itself, or at least in any way going to be willing to sit back and watch as another agency or another committee is in charge of disarming Hamas. Like, I have definitely a lot of skepticism still to go here, but it remains to be seen how this goes from here. But I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of what we know as of now. I think there was something else here. I think this was from Mehdi Hassan's Zateo put this out. I think this is kind of just depicting the numbers as everybody's talking about this peace deal here. So let me put this on the screen. So this is a post from Zateo, and this was, it says 92% of homes destroyed in Gaza. This is just kind of 2 years. These horrific numbers show the scale of Israel's genocide in Gaza. The figures speak for themselves, it says. So this is 92% of homes destroyed in Gaza. It goes on to say 55 million metric tons of rubble. $40 billion of U.S. arms sales to Israel since October 7th, and 1.9 million displaced Palestinians, 518 schools damaged or destroyed. Just a little bit of the devastation and destruction that hopefully is coming to an end sooner rather than later, but in a way that, is what's, hold on. Mel's texting me. Mel says Trump's going to Israel. U.S. President Donald Trump told Barak Ravid in a phone interview that he is expected to arrive in Israel in the next coming days, and expressed willingness to speak before the Knesset. I am expected to arrive in Israel the next coming days. This is a great day for Israel and the blank, 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 says Donald Trump. Again, who is more than willing to put the press out there that this is kind of more progressed than it is, to kind of hype his Nobel Peace Prize chances. But again, I think everybody is kind of taking this with a grain of salt and a little bit of skepticism to see how this is actually going to progress, because not only has recently Israel stopped the humanitarian aid from entering this area, but they've also it's been Benjamin Netanyahu gave a speech in Hebrew in which he said that the Israeli forces, the IDF, were always going to be inside of that area. Like, he has no plans on actually removing them completely, as I believe the first 3 lines of, retreat, we'll call them, that came out with this first 20-point peace plan showed. There was 3 lines depicted by 3 different colors that kind of came in 3 different stages. And that was directly combated, right? That was directly contradicted by Benjamin Netanyahu in this speech in Hebrew that he gave. So again, just a little bit of updates, a little bit of breaking news, but also, everybody kind of, not really holding their breath so to speak, in this one. We'll see how this goes, and we'll report on it as we, as the news comes to us. But as of now, it has been agreed upon. Let me just put that back on the screen, just in case anybody's just joining us. Throw this back up there. But just in case you just joined us, it has been agreed upon. Israel and Hamas have signed a complete ceasefire agreement, which will go into effect across the Gaza Strip on Thursday, October 9th, 12 p.m. Cairo time, according to the Saudi Al Hadath News. All right, so let me put that back up here. But again, wanted to get the breaking news out of the way just in case everybody's kind of chatting about that. But how's everybody doing in the chat? Speaking of the chat, Jim, what's up, buddy? What's up, Kinky? What's up, Teresa? What's up, Yakov? What's going on, Rob? Appreciate you guys. What's up, Texas? Appreciate it. What's up, Kelly? What's up, Babyface? What's up, Dame, Alvin, Gamer, Simon? Can I get a beer? What's happening? Go Bruins. What's up, Patui? Appreciate you guys. What's up, JD? All right, what do you say we get into this? Because I was kind of I kind of looked like a moron this morning when I couldn't find this. I must have skipped over it trying to kind of find it in its own place, but this was the Greg Kelly interview with Donald Trump that I tried playing this morning in the earlier show that I must have just breezed over the exact part, the important part that I was trying to get to. But just to kind of, reiterate and just to kind of, try to bring myself back into existence here after a total failure. I just want to kind of play this where he does say that he is talking about and at least thinking about invoking the Insurrection Act. Again, the insurrectionist, the man that led an insurrection himself, now threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act to stop a fake and false insurrection that he's calling an insurrection. That's not an insurrection. So let me just see if I can play this. It's only a couple seconds, and then we'll get on to the recent video clips of the Gestapo ICE violence that is enveloping this country in a random and very progressed way. Let's go here.
You've been blocked by these federal judges, the one giving you a hard time in Oregon, which drives me crazy. There are 95 of these district judges. The Insurrection Act, is that going to be formally invoked? Is that a way to kind of get around all this opposition?
And listen to how it's even framed right there. And again, I'm going to play his quick answer and then we'll get off this. I just wanted to kind of show you guys that he absolutely did talk about it. So just in case you watched this morning, but just the way that it's framed, like, are you going to use this in order to get around all of these legal ramifications and all of these legal things that are stepping in your way, the legal roadblocks, so that you can have, outright power? And I think in one of the recent clips that's going around, Stephen Miller kind of, lets the cat out of the bag there and says, like, he wants Trump to have like complete and total authority and complete and total dictatorial control, and then kind of fakes like he had some audio issues, I think, and then CNN maybe edited it. That I think there's an I've had it podcast clip on that. Maybe if we have enough time, we'll dive into that. But let's get into Donald Trump's response to the question. As president, he's being asked, are you going to invoke this Insurrection Act literally just to get around the legal roadblocks that stand in your way right now?
Well, it is a way to get around it. If we don't have to use it, I wouldn't use it. If you take a look at what's been going on in Portland, it's been going on for a long time. And that's
Nancy, let's go. Come on. I was going to get you. I promise I wouldn't forget you. Happy birthday, Nancy, from me and Mel and Logan and everybody here at Blunt Politics and everybody here in the chat. We're very appreciative for all the support and the kindness that you share, not only in the chat, but also helping the show financially and seeing you in the Zooms with your lovely pet and everybody else laughing and giggling and stuff. So I hope you have the happiest birthday, and we wish you all the best. And thank you so much for your support. And I'm very sorry that it's a tough time, right? Everybody hopes that you're having I don't know how to put this. Well, but the easiest time possible. You know what I mean? Where where it's not always the brightest moments, but you have people here in the chat that are more than happy to be here for you if you need to get some steam off your chest and let off a little aggression. So happy birthday, Nancy, and thank you for everything. I appreciate you. All right, let's see if we can I think there's a couple more seconds of his answer and then we'll get out of it.
Insurrection. I mean, that's pure insurrection. And then you'll have a governor get up and say, there's absolutely nothing wrong. And you see these places are burning down, like in Chicago with Pritzker. They lose.
Right now, Chicago's burning down. Chicago, did you know that? Jeez, I wonder if the people in Chicago, we should probably tell anybody in the chat from Chicago. you should maybe look out your window, because apparently Chicago's on fire like Portland was in 2020, but it really wasn't, and it is again now, but it really isn't now either. So just in case anybody's from the Chi-Town area, give a good look-see out your window. Just in case you don't hear that fire alarm going off, you're still kind of well aware of where the blaze is coming from and which direction. Oh, yeah, Laurie, our resident Chicago spokesperson. No blaze to report, Laurie. Well, keep us posted, because apparently Donald Trump's got eyes on.
5 a weekend, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11.
30.
Right, so I think I must have just missed it earlier, because we did see that part. I remember hearing that part. All right, so I just want to, again, redeem myself there and make sure that you guys know I wasn't a total space shot. All right, so let's get into, again, these some more of these videos that we've been playing here on the show pretty regularly as they've been going on. This is more of the Trump's ICE Gestapo in the evidence that they're just out there brutalizing the American citizenry. This is Trump's ICE Gestapo, who are nothing but untrained civilians and J6 criminals, are randomly attacking peaceful protesters in blue cities of blue states, Oregon and Illinois, ranked 24 and 30 for crime per capita. Arkansas, Tennessee, let's see, Arizona, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Kansas are in the top 10 worst. And this is, again, just an unprovoked, another perfect evidence, another perfect example of unprovoked violence in aggression towards peaceful protesters. And you wonder why that these peaceful protests sometimes don't remain as peaceful as you'd like them, because they're being actively provoked and actively intimidated like this. So why don't we play this, where this guy just waltzes up, and you can see he does it fucking incredibly shadily. He waltzes up, and then he just sprays this girl right in the eyeballs. Ready? Check this out. Right in the eyeballs with the pepper spray. Look at that. Look at him. Look at him waltz up there.
Who is talking to you? No. Hey, this is the line that they created.
Right in the face. I mean, that's unprovoked. She's peacefully protesting. She may be, talking to them and giving and spewing opinions that they don't, espouse and they don't agree with. But that doesn't give them the right to just waltz up and from behind their back pull out this fucking giant canister of pepper spray, a bear spray, or whatever the fuck it is, tear gas, whatever the fuck, and spray it directly in her face from point blank range. Right. So one more time, again, look at her. She's not in a threatening posture, no threatening pose. She's not forcing the officers to back up. These two officers aren't even asking for assistance. Right. They're probably more than happy to sit there and take the abuse and whatever happened. And this guy waltzes up from the fucking back with the canister like a little fucking puss bag, like a little bitch bag he is, and decides to just unload in this lady's eyeballs. Look at him, Short King. Look at the Short King waddling. Short King waddling in here. Somehow he's in charge of the spray. I don't know why he's in charge of the spray. Probably because if you spray it low, it has a better effect. So they gave it to the Short King. Look at it. So he's got it behind his back. He's in conversation, and she's like, no more threatening or aggressive or anything than she just was, right?
No. Hey, this is the line that they created.
And you can hear the guy. Look at right in her fucking mouth. And you hear the guy with the bullhorn say, "This is the line that they created." Like, I didn't make this line. This is the line that they came out, they established, and they said we could come up to this point and no further. So that's what these people did. They took a full advantage of the line set up by the fucking police, ICE, whoever this Gestapo agency is here, because there's a multitude of them involved in it now. When you just say ICE, that involves much more now, depending on which city and town and their police force is actively helping along with this fucking bullshit. But again, look at how close he is with the spray directly in her eyes. She's not being aggressive, non-confrontational. And you can hear the guy say this, no, because the guy's probably saying move or get back or something like that. And the guy's like, well, this is the line that these two guys created. This is the line that you guys, the perimeter that you set up. So how about no? Oh, shit. And to be honest, she kind of takes it like a champ, right? Kind of takes it like a champ. I think I would have been fucking down for the count on that one. And again, there's a multitude of these that we can talk about. Everybody's talking about this one as well. This picture I'm sure you've seen making its way around social media. This is a federal agent points a weapon at a woman who was recording them. Jess, a U.S. citizen and member of a neighborhood patrol team that documents and shares ICE activity across the city, was filming when the incident occurred earlier today in the Berwyn area. And take a look at this, right? Now, I have absolutely no idea. It looks like some sort of non-lethal round or non-lethal weapon to me, but that's just in my amateur opinion of it. Not that it matters, because I don't think that has any less effect when you're driving down the street and then all of a sudden you got that pointed in your face by somebody in full camo with a fucking face mask on. I think it probably could have the same impact, especially if you're driving at certain speed. You're probably not getting a pretty good look at that, and it could have the same impact of forcing you to drive off the road. But what kind of fucking nonsense? What kind of, I don't know, what kind of carte blanche authority and permission do they think they have? It's almost like the president of the United States gave these guys tacit permission to act in the most egregious and aggressive manner they could possibly do to intimidate the citizens. It's almost as if the president gave them permission to act just like this and do things just like this without any fear of repercussions, without any fear of being suspended or reprimanded whatsoever. This has been seen now 7.6 million times, if you believe anything, as far as statistics that Twitter is putting out. But yeah, again, Donald Trump's United States of America 2025, and this is what you see. This is what you get to see driving down the road. And who knows? Is this a real ICE agent? Is this somebody really affiliated with Border Patrol? Is this somebody really affiliated with law enforcement? Who the fuck knows? Because as we've talked about, there's been an uptick of people impersonating law enforcement, impersonating ICE officials as well, because they know they can be masked up. It's not that difficult to get these fake, ridiculous body armor, cosplay fucking military outfits, a fake badge that if you flash real quick, somebody might not know the difference. Like, it's crazy. And then there's this one. This is the one we showed earlier on the show, but just in case you didn't get to see this morning, this is actually a pastor. Let me see if I can stop this. There needs to be an investigation into the ICE who shot the priest. Pastor needs to be held accountable. This priest was posing no threat whatsoever. The ICE agent shot him with a pepper ball and for sport to amuse his Gestapo colleagues. This is the one, again, we played earlier, where this is this is a good example as well as to the brutality and the unprovoked attacks that we're witnessing right now from ICE. Because again, 3 fucking snipers or 3 Gestapo pieces of shit up on a roof 30 feet high in front of about 7 people that clearly are posing no danger. And I believe it was the same facility that you can see a video online right now where the ICE officials actually called the local police in a 911 call to say that people were trying to break into the facility. And when the cops all rushed there, it was literally one camera guy and his bodyguard. And they were like, well, this place just called us and said somebody was trying to break in. And they were like, no, we've been here. Not since we've been here has anybody done that. So they're actually using and abusing the local police force, the local law enforcement agencies. And the chief, he was interviewed too about it, and he's pissed, thinking it was like just a false call and abuse of power. And so check this out. In case you didn't see this earlier, this guy in the black, keep your eye on this guy right here in the black. And, as it pertains to these people up on the top there, it's fucking disgusting. You can hear the shots going off, right? You can just kind of see right here the smoke of the impact from the rubber bullets or the non-lethal rounds, whatever they're firing up there. I don't know if they're balls or bullets or whatever it is. But then this guy here with the helmet starts walking in because I think he can see what's about to happen, right? So it almost looks like he goes in and tries to block the firing from the roof down to these people. And you can hear this whole time the firing's still going. Right? So you can see he was actually just struck right here. Watch, I'll rewind it just a second. You can actually see he was struck probably on the right arm. Watch, ready? Oh, I missed it. It's right here. Ready? Watch his right arm. See that right there? So he just got hit in the right arm. He just got hit again because you could see him flinch, and you can already see this guy covering his head and his neck because he's already getting hit too. You can see the smoke. From the shots coming up top, so you know where they're coming from. Now, did you see that? Did you catch that one? Check this out. Watch the guy in the black. Ready? And how many times? They must have fired 10 times after that. So one more time. Ready? And they're still firing. They're firing from the fucking hip too, right? They're not even, they're just kind of like, so you can't tell really who's firing. They're not firing through the sights or the scope or whatever the hell. They're not aiming. They're just firing randomly into this guy's fucking chest or head or face. Now, I haven't heard, and has anybody seen any update as to what the injuries might have been or if he's all right or what's going on with him? I haven't seen any reporting or any updates. But again, one more time here, one more time. Even the guy with all the pads. And then luckily, like I said, I think he kind of knew what was going on. So it almost looks like he's trying to get in front. But with the angle that these people have on the roof, he was never going to stop unless he just covered him completely. I mean, you got to think the force alone is probably enough to cause some sort of mild concussion, right? Even if it doesn't break the skin, even if it, I mean, it's going to be a huge welt. Sadly, no updates. All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled on that one just to see what's going on, because I think you can add this to the list of lawsuits. You can add this to the long list of lawsuits that ICE and Border Patrol and other agencies are going to be facing, right? Oh, what's up, Michael? What's up, big guy? Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. So, yeah, and again, not to mention there's probably, let's see here. I know that was another one there. Let's see if there's been any other posts up here that we can kind of point. Whatever the hell that was. That's the one we just saw as well. This is the one that we showed the other day where they had the people like fucking rappelling down the side of the building, and they just kind of kidnapped the entire building, regardless if they were American citizens or whatever. That one we just saw again. Here's the crazy one we showed on the show the other day. Guy just pops out with a weapon drawn in their face, smashes the glass. We showed this on the show the other day, too, of this asylum seeker, what it can only be thought or reported as an asylum seeker going to his asylum process with his lawyer, because he's in court with his lawyer at the time, being taken away with no warrant shown, no reason being given. So yeah, there's a ridiculous amount of things that you can look at. Oh, thank you, Susie. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. All right, so what do you say we kind of what do you say we move on to the next story here, which I think is probably, let's dive into Ukraine's latest successes. Why don't we hit that like button, if not for me, but for the people and the men of the armed forces of Ukraine, the men and women of the armed forces of Ukraine, and the incredible citizens of Ukraine, please. That would be great. But now we're going to dive into just a little bit of their recent success. And I just want you to listen to these chapters right now, right? This just gives you a little bit, Ukraine strikes Sochi during Putin's visit. That was during his birthday. And then this next one, Ruti drone long-range strike on refinery in Orsk. Okay. Next one, Ukraine strikes Tumen over 2,000 kilometers away. Okay. Next one, strike on Russia's oral chem plants. Okay. Next one, Ukraine strikes fourth largest Russian refinery and oil depot. Next one, Ukrainian strikes on Bryansk. It's just like one after another, after another, after another. It's fucking crazy. And again, we didn't have time to dive too deeply into this on the earlier show because I kind of lose track of time when it's only an hour. But my stomach and my eyes are a little bit bigger than my stomach, if that's how the saying goes. But let me see if we can get into just a little bit of this. And again, this is Ukraine Matters, as I always like to give them a shout out. Ukraine Matters, and the title is Ukraine's drones are now striking the Kremlin's backyard, and this was from 7 October, so yesterday, but this gives a good update, and I'm sure there's probably been even more updates to play since then. So what do you say we get into just a little bit of this? I am going to fast forward just a touch so that we can get by just a little more than, say, we normally would have otherwise. Not too bad, though. All right, so we're going to get into the first chapter, and again, we're just going to give the highlights, and then I'll kind of, skip ahead as we go. But this first one's going to be about the strikes in Sochi during Putin's visit, and I believe this is the one they're going to talk about that was during his birthday, which makes it even better.
begin. And we start talking about notable strikes by talking about the one that came very close to the main perpetrator at hand, Vladimir Putin. During his visit at the Valdai in Sochi conference, where he spoke and talked a lot of nonsense, Ukrainians decided to say hi and they sent in some drones. Obviously, Putin cares a lot about his pitiful existence, so
and I can pretty much guarantee you that somebody somewhere paid the price for that by, I don't know, leaving their window open to their 9th or 10th story apartment and then somehow finding themselves sleepwalking in the middle of their night, somehow with, probably a slit to their friggin' neck, and then they just sleepwalk right out the window. It's crazy. But I'm almost, you could probably guarantee that somebody faced some sort of punishment because of the proximity and the closeness that this attack would manage to get to in relation to Vladimir Putin, especially in Sochi, a place that he, is so beloved of Putin, right? Not just the friggin' Olympics, but I think that's also where he went as a kid. If I could be wrong on that one, I think there was one place that's pretty much beloved by him for that reason. But it goes on to talk about this strike here.
Likely all of these drones were shut down.
Oh, Nancy, you saint you. Enough. You're supposed to be receiving things on your birthday, not giving so much, you saint. You absolute saint, you. But thank you. And please, to anybody receiving those 10 gifted memberships, make sure you're thanking Nancy for her incredible generosity, especially on her birthday. Like, how, I don't know how I could feel worse. Taking gifts from somebody when it's their birthday, it's just terrible. That's a terrible thought. But thank you, Nancy. I appreciate you. I do.
It is, however, very nice to know that Ukrainians are keeping Putin on his toes. But let's move to strikes that actually did some notable damage. First one is the Luty drone strikes on the Russian oil refinery in Orsk. Orsk is a notable place because it is located.
And again, we've been talking about the ongoing strike, the ongoing task of taking out Russia's oil refining capabilities, so that we can see the success that we're seeing again with the long lines, with the lack of gas, with forcing Russia to now purchase fuel from Asia and other places to make up for at least some of the loss. But again, this is seeing a lot more success than I think even not only the Ukrainians, but not only Russia thought it was going to have, but also I think the Ukrainians thought it might have. But maybe, again, they probably have more confidence in their abilities and knowledge about their abilities than anybody else. So they're probably not too surprised at their successes.
1,400 kilometers away from the border of Ukraine.
1,400 kilometers. And then what was this other one? I think it was 2,000. Yeah, so listen to this one. It was over 2,000 kilometers away. Let's see.
As it was sinking in that Ukrainians are able to strike refineries 1,400 kilometers away, a new report came in about the strike in Tyumen. And Tyumen is located over 2,000 kilometers away from Ukraine.
That's 1,240 miles from the Ukrainian border, as it says here. That's crazy.
In front line.
Oui.
And there was already 3 drones flying into that area. And at first, Russians were reporting that drones overshot and they really didn't hit anything, that nothing was actually damaged. Unfortunately for them, the follow-ups exist. So no, the oil refinery was indeed struck. And as far as we understand, actually the important part of the refinery was actually taken out. So if this is indeed true, then Russia
That's
just
another
lost.
thing that Ukraine's really good at is not only getting these drones to the target, but also being able to pinpoint the vital systems, the vital areas of these refineries, of these different power plants, of these different factories that they're hitting, to make sure that they're causing the most damage, with the smallest amount of weapons expended, right, in order to get that damage. So, going after cooling towers and different things that either will cause the biggest explosion or are the most difficult areas to fix or contain materials that Russia can no longer produce and has a really difficult time getting, so that they can, fix these places and repair the issues. So they're unbelievable of not only getting through the Russian air defense systems, but also being able to pinpoint, the exact places in these refineries and again different factories and military installations that they need to strike in order to maximize the damage with the small amount of drones and cargo that they're able to send that way. Because even though that we're talking about strikes 1,200 miles away, I don't think that we're anywhere near the explosive capacity, the explosive payload that would be brought if it was a Tomahawk missile. Right. So I think the 1,000 pounds of TNT or the 1,000 pounds of explosive charge on the Tomahawk, I'm not sure what type. I think they just showed it. Let me see. Does this kind of give us, what's this one? Western Siberia downed with 3 drones. Does it say what kind of drone that is? Explosions. Russian authority was found in the blaze. Are these flamingos? Let's see here. Detected and neutralized. I can't see in this right here that it says what type of drone that it was. If anybody knows specifically what drone that is, I'm curious. Not only maximum range, but also what type of payload it's bringing. So let me know in the chat if anybody has any information on that. I'd just be curious what the comparison is and how much more damage they could be doing if, again, we were already sending these Tomahawks over. Let's see. I think we were right about here.
With the anti-drone nets, even this one that is over 2,000 kilometers away. However, anti-drone nets don't really help against this caliber of drones because the explosions are just so big with the warhead size that usually these drones are carrying. So these nets, I mean, they're a nice symbolic gesture, I guess, but they're not really providing any real protection for the sensitive equipment needed to refine oil. Ukrainians struck a chemical plant.
So it seems like they do have at least some sort of aggressive payload, but I don't think he actually said there. Yeah, I don't think it was. Yeah, it's more. That's what I was thinking. Is more of a cone-shaped forest, right? But I'm not sure what the code name or the name for that exact drone is. I'd have to do more digging in order to look up. Again, it's a maximum range and its capacity, it's the payload that it delivers. But here's another one. Here's the fourth. Let's see which one. This one is strike on. Yeah, here's a different strike.
In the Ural Mountains, Azot branch of GSC Ural Camp in Perm region have been struck. It is located 1,600 kilometers away from Ukrainian borders. And wherever there is like Azot and any kind of chemical plant, most likely we're talking about any kind of gunpowder or explosives manufacturing facility. Oil refinery in the Leningrad region is being struck. It's very important because this is one of the European oil refineries, and it's a prime one that Russians are using to refine and export their oil and oil products. So for the third time now, it has been struck as it was being repaired. Ukrainian drones.
People working there must be like, bliat the fucking shit again. Fucking this is a fourth time. Let me see. This is another one where they talk about a strike on Bryansk here. So this is the year. Oh, here's another one. Here's a different one too. Oh, this is
struck
great.
The fourth largest oil refinery as well in Nizhny Novgorod, about 800 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Ukrainian defense forces attacked one of the largest oil depots in Crimea. And this one is very fun because of the strikes of the Ukrainian oil refineries. There have been major issues with gasoline all over the periphery of Russia, including the occupied territories, especially in Crimea. Currently, there is basically restrictions on how much gasoline can be sold to a person in Crimea. It is now capped at 20 liters. And the current governor, the appointed governor by Putin of this occupied region of Ukraine, has been stating that they're working on a solution to get gasoline.
We actually played that video on the show when it was first reported, when they were trying to bring up and trying to tacitly acknowledge the shortage, but also not acknowledge why they had the shortage in the first place. This goes on to talk about another Ukrainian strike on Bryansk. Let's take a look at this one.
Not only Belgorod region is experiencing the Ukrainian counterstrikes as punishment for the Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure. Now it is also Bryansk region. Ukrainians.
1 second, we got updates. We got updates from Eric. Eric says, I'm reading 500-pound payload up to 2,000 kilometers. Boss Brian live for their drones on Wikipedia. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that for digging that up. So I think that's what? So that's half the payload of a Tomahawk. I believe the Tomahawk has 1,000-pound payload, if I'm not mistaken. Similar, let's see here, just so I don't sound like an asshole. Let's just see. And I know there's different types of them as well. I'll throw this on here so we can all look at it. Operational range. So 2,500 kilometers, so about 500 more than that. And then what's it say for its payload here? I guess that also varies depending on what type of so conventional has 1,000 pounds of 450 kilograms of high explosive or submunition dispenser. With that one right there. So yeah, so roughly half. So you can go, so the Tomahawk would have an extra 500 kilometers range and about an extra 5, so and double the explosive power. And again, depending on what type would be sending over on there. So thank you, Eric. I appreciate you digging that up, my man. I really do. I appreciate that.
Have struck 3 energy facilities in the Bryansk region as a response on the attacks that has been ongoing on Ukrainian cities. Russian drones are continuing flying into the European cities and causing disruptions.
All right, so I just kind of wanted to give that quick update on, the success that we've been seeing just in recent days. Like, I know we've been reporting on this for about, I think this has been an ongoing operation that, people have been talking about for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months at this point. I know it's easy to lose track of time, might even be a little longer than that, but it hasn't been a ton of time. So to see, again, the success that we've seen in such a short period of time just goes to show that we should be devoting more ammunition and more resources towards that mission, to further that mission, to make sure that we can have more effective strikes and have more strikes on more more installations just like that, in order to bring this war to its most immediate end. You know what I mean? When you see daylight, when you see a tunnel, when you see a route, that leads to fucking fresh air, that leads to daylight, you need to take that until that's closed. And right now, I think we're seeing some real daylight here as far as an opening for the Ukrainian military to affect some real change in this. And at least to go at least as to give them a better opportunity, a better seat at the table when negotiations inevitably do take place, right? So if there's an incredible oil and gas shortage, not only throughout Crimea, but throughout Russia, it obviously gives more of a bargaining chip to Ukraine when and if they get to the negotiating table with Russia, right? So that's basically another aspect of this, even if it doesn't inherently cripple or bring to its knees Russia in totality, right? Like if they're not able to conduct military operations anymore because Ukraine has taken out so much of their oil refining capabilities and so much of their gas and stuff, right? So I'm not sure if it'll ever come to that, but it'd definitely make them think twice and definitely give them a better opportunity to negotiate out of the best possible outcome out of this situation, right? All right, so what do you say we move on from that as well? So much that I wanted to get through. There's so much that I wanted to get through. I already did that one. I could probably close that one as well. I appreciate you guys as well for joining me. That one we did, that one we did, that one we did, and that one we did. So we're doing well. So why don't we dive into? I'll kind of save the Candice making just tearing MAGA apart for last, and then we'll kind of go over just a few minutes, if I can, of this ridiculous meeting that Donald Trump, this Antifa roundtable, they're calling it. The Antifa roundtable. You gotta be shitting me. All right, so I'm gonna skip all the way to the end here, where they were, and then we'll skip through the whole thing as well. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I won't subject you to the whole thing. We'll kind of fast forward to different parts, and if it gets too mundane, we might hop over to Twitter or Blue Sky and see if we can just pick up the clips from some people as well. But if we could just dive into just a bit of this, and then again, before I get you out of here, we'll be talking about shit. We actually have a lot of time. I kind of did that first section pretty well, so we might have some time to dive into the Candice craziness. That should have been the title of the show. That should have been the Candice craziness. All right, let's dive into just a little bit of this, because not only, again, is Donald Trump actively saying here that he's openly and honestly and blatantly saying he's removing the free speech from the people of this country. He's removing your right in the, your the freedom of, I don't know. He says it blatant. The man that at many opportunities before has said that he's all about free speech. Not only that, but everybody that surrounds him is supposedly for free speech, is now actively telling people that he's stripping people of their freedom of speech, okay? So let's see if we can, again, get into just a little bit of this. I'll speed it up just a touch as well because I don't feel like listening to any of these assholes at normal speed. Not too much, just enough to make it a little better. All right, let's go.
Thank you very much. I was just dealing with people from the Middle East, Arab people, and other people on the.
How is he smaller than Kristi Noem? Like I know that you kind of shrink when you get older like that, but how is he already smaller in stature than friggin' Kristi Noem is, right? Like she looks like a good 2 inches taller in her seat, right? She's definitely got better posture. And when she was denied access to shitting in that police station, she looked like she weighed about 13 and a half pounds. Like if the next stop, hopefully she went to McDonald's to take a shit so she could get a cheeseburger at the same time because she looked very and completely unhealthy, right? But somehow Mr. 6'2", 225, 47 over here is just so much smaller in stature. But anyway.
Potential peace deal for the Middle East. Peace for the Middle East. That's a beautiful phrase, and we hope it's going to come true, but it's very close.
It'd be the second time you claim such, because didn't Jared Kushner, your son-in-law, the person that took $2 billion from the Saudis, didn't you already claim that he was the one that established peace in the Middle East? Before, again, we don't have to dive into ancient history from all of 4 years ago.
And they're doing very well. We have a great team over there, great negotiators, and there are unfortunately great negotiators on the other side also. But it's something I think that will happen, got a good chance of happening. I may go there sometime toward the end of the week.
Right, as we reported. So this is where he talks about going to Israel. So again, in case you were joining us late as well, I should probably reiterate in case nobody, in case you hopped in late, we were talking about earlier, the Israel and Hamas have signed a complete ceasefire agreement, which will go into effect across the Gaza Strip on Thursday, October 9th at 12 Cairo time. And again, this is just kind of the preliminary agreements, what they're calling phase one, apparently. Let me see if I can put this on the screen. And this kind of just talks about a little more of what still needs to be hashed out. So disarming Hamas, the future governing structure of Gaza, just among some other big things that still need to be agreed upon before I think any major steps are taken. And again, I'm not holding my breath as to the efficacy of the ceasefire, because we know that Donald Trump on Friday, instructed Israel to stop their bombings, to stop their actions, their military actions. And again, since then, they've killed 118 Palestinians, according to the health ministry in the area. So again, I'm not holding my breath is probably the best way to say this, and we'll keep our eye on it because I think everybody is more than ready to see the end of this, right? To see the suffering and to see the people get back to whatever life they could probably scrape up after this. But again, we don't want this to just end in a way that it's just going to kick off even worse down the line, or potentially lead to the ethnic cleansing or complete eradication of a people, basically sanctioned by the United States and controlled by Israel and the IDF. That's, again, not what we're looking for. So we'll keep our eye on it. We'll report it as it comes, and we'll bring it to you here like we always do on Blunt Politics. I appreciate you, as always. Let me throw this back on here.
Maybe on Sunday, actually, and we'll see. But there's a very good chance negotiations are going along very well. We're dealing with Hamas and many of the countries. As you know, we have all of the Muslim countries are included. All of the Arab countries are included.
And Mel just texted me from AZ Intel saying that at least 2,000 Palestinian prisoners to reportedly get released in exchange for 20 living hostages, according to Israeli and Palestinian sources. Release is expected Monday. Agreement reached in Egypt. And then there was I think this is ongoing. Hundreds of anti-ICE protesters marched through downtown Chicago, Illinois. Is that something I could pick up real quick? Let me see. Protest, Chi-Town, Chicago. I don't know why that's capitalized. News. Let's see here. Put this on. Is this it right here? Get out the way. Come on, give me something. Anything? Traffic alert, traffic alert, traffic alert. Is this supposed to be a video? Oh, no. Live updates, National Guard troops are expected to deploy. Let's see. What's that? AZ Intel? I'll have to go to that one. Let me see if I can pull that up on X for you guys. Oops, sorry. My apologies. I'm at the side of the table over there. Let me see if I can pull this up on Twitter and show you guys. AZ Intel. Is that it right there? Must be. Here we go. There we go. I gotta share the screen again. Share screen. Put this up there. This is what I was just. So it looks like I'm not sure when this was, how long ago. It looks like 5 minutes ago it was posted. Hundreds of anti-ICE protesters marched through downtown Chicago, Illinois. Oh, you're not even seeing it, like assholes. What a dummy. What a dummy. There you go. That's probably better for you guys, right? Make it bigger. There's not much sound. Just sounds like helicopter sound. See if we can pick Laurie out of the crowd. Laurie, where are you? I know you're in here somewhere listening. So again, good to see. And again, I know this is probably something that's not scheduled. We were kind of talking about this earlier where it's like, I wish these things were more kind of, more kind of, what do you call them? Sporadic, proactive, more organic, right? Instead of having to set them up. I don't know. Maybe this was kind of, predetermined or whatnot, but it's good to see that this stuff happening. Good to see that, we're a show of force, looks peaceful, right? No damage being done. We'll see how long that remains because it usually kicks off as soon as the law enforcement, who ironically are supposed to be there to, quell the situation and calm things down. Typically, that's when tensions start rising. But looks like a good group of people there, right? That's a good fucking group of people. Again, sorry the fact that there's no sound on it because I think it's just helicopter. But that's a good group of people. And again, looks extremely peaceful. Good to see Chicago. Good to see Chicago. Solidarity. I appreciate you guys. Let's see. What's that say right underneath it? What's this saying underneath it? So that was for Texas. National Guard troops are expected to be deployed to the Broadview ICE Processing Center Wednesday evening, law enforcement sources told ABC. And I saw somebody go through and say that, they appreciate being like the Twitter filter here. I think it was Susie that said it. And it's, what, I wish I didn't have to, but I'd be absolutely lying to you if I said that I could remove myself from Twitter and still expect to get the same amount of information that I did while I was on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, I wish that it was the mass exodus that we all wanted it to be to begin with when Blue Sky first started up thing, but it's not very difficult to look at, one news organization's website on, their timeline on Twitter and timeline on Blue Sky, and you'll see very fucking quickly that they don't match up post for post. So there are some things that if you're following certain news organizations or following certain accounts, that you have to still get the messaging through this platform, as shitty as it is, because that's where these news people post. That's where these sites post. That's where this information is, right? It's unfortunate. It sucks. I don't even have it on my phone anymore. I typically just kind of, open it on the internet if I'm searching something specifically, right? But again, if you can't just be on Blue Sky and expect to get the same amount of information as you do is if you do both Blue Sky and Twitter, right? You can kind of compare and contrast the two. But if you do just Blue Sky, then you're kind of missing out. And you can see that very clearly from a lot of these different and more influential accounts that don't post one for one on each platform. Some do, rightly so. Some do post the same thing they post on Twitter, the same thing on Blue Sky, but a lot of them don't. So it makes it fucking difficult. All right, so let's see here. What were we doing? Yeah, we were doing this asshole. My bad. I got sidetracked. As I do, but I don't think anybody's mad that we're missing out on Donald Trump time.
Very rich countries and some that are not so rich, but just about everybody's included. It's never happened before. Nothing like that's happened.
Yep,
Well, leaving probably on Sunday, maybe soon, but a very Sierra group, Antifa.
All right, here we go. Here we go, guys. Here we go.
I've heard a lot about them for 10
years. And, I just want to congratulate everybody in the chat for being extremely proud Antifa terrorists. I know myself. I'll just speak for myself, I guess, on this one. But I am a very proud member of Antifa. I am a proud terrorist, I guess, now depicted as such by the United States government. So now Donald Trump is going to go ahead and tell us how I just became illegal, and now I am like, I don't know, enemy number one. And this is again, they don't have an original fucking brain cell. They don't have an original thought. They don't have an original plan. This is them trying to combat the fact, as we've talked about, that the FBI and the DOJ and other agencies used to come out before Trump took office again and say that it was white Christian nationalist, it was white supremacist, right? It was the Nazis in this country that were the biggest domestic threat to the people of this country, right? You remember all that when it was the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, the fucking 2%ers, the 3%ers, the 1%ers, whatever. So now they're trying to flip the script, and they can't have, because they don't have an original fucking thought. All they can think of is being like, well, now we got to call them the number one threat in domestic terrorists because that's what they did to us. It's like, yes, well, that's because it was through active friggin' research and like statistical relevance and shit that we came up, or those agencies came up with those stats and figures to say that, yes, it was the white supremacists and Christian nationalists that were and posed the biggest threat to us domestically in this country. So again, this is them trying to kind of turn that on its head.
Years. And other far-left extremists have been carrying out a campaign of violence against ICE agents and other officials charged with enforcing federal law. In Chicago, anarchists have surveilled at least 4 local ICE facilities and posted diagrams of the buildings online, meaning nothing but bad.
I'm sorry, posted diagrams of the building online? You mean is it that difficult to get a diagram of a building? Like, is that secretive? Is that secretive material that you can't get a certain, like, I don't know. I feel like if it's a public building, it wouldn't be that difficult to get your hands on the blueprints, especially in today's day and age. You could probably go to any number of websites to get the blueprints on any number of buildings. So how that can be only bad, I don't know. Or that should be, cause for you to get thrown in jail?
Accompanied by photos of specific ICE agents that they're targeting, one in particular who's a top person and a great patriot. In July, approximately.
But again, unless they're actively telling people to cause harm to this person, unless they're actively, calling for some sort of violence or retribution against this person, like what is the exact issue? What is the exact, like, what's the law that they broke? You don't like the fact that their identity has been revealed as a federal employee? Like you still think that people should be federal employees and not be able to have their identities revealed? Like they should be going around with masks and stuff? Because I don't think, again, we've talked about how judges and prosecutors, like what if all the judges and prosecutors in this country just decided to all of a sudden all wear masks, go around because they were scared and afraid of the retribution from the people they either imprisoned or, set free or whatever it may be? I think we'd have a much different judicial system going on. But again.
A dozen Antifa-aligned militants stormed the ICE facility in Texas and then lured officers out of the building before firing dozens.
They lured officers out of the building, so you're calling the officers completely incompetent and stupid and inept and unable to do their job. They allowed these furry, blue-haired, purple-haired Antifa members to lure them out of the building. Jeez, I think they might need to go back to their training. If they're that fucking piss poorly trained.
Of rounds at police, they were crazy, frankly, shooting one Texas officer in the neck. And in Portland, Oregon, Antifa thugs have repeatedly attacked our officers and laid siege to federal property in an attempt to violently stop.
Man, that's crazy because a lot of the video, mainly all of the videos that we've seen over the last few days that we played on this show was the opposite. It was the officers attacking and being brutally violent towards the people, as opposed to the other way around that you'd love to have other people believe. I don't know. I think the one guy, I think he's got this Nick Sorter asshole in the room here that he tries to praise and gets somebody else arrested because Nick acted strongly when he saw somebody else, again, expressing in their First Amendment right of expressing their free speech and burning the flag.
Execution of federal law. Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful. And what the governor and the mayor of, as an example, you could say of Portland, and you can say certainly of Chicago is not lawful what they're doing. They have to be very careful. In addition to,
I don't know what does that mean? How can somebody that without law, against the law and without fucking invitation, send the National Guard into cities? Now all of a sudden that the governor's coming out and being like, well, no, we didn't ask for this shit. We didn't say they want. I don't want them here. Actually, we want them to leave. Like now, all of a sudden, that's the illegal part of it. Fucking everything's so on its ass.
weeks ago, radical left terrorists in Dallas conducted a sniper attack on a local ICE facility, killing 2 people and leaving behind a note.
Oh, here we go. This is another part of this whole thing where, again, they're trying to slip it in this entire conversation where listen to the people that they try to put on the left, right? So the guy there that killed and shot the detainees, again, didn't harm, didn't hit, didn't fucking even come close to harming a single fucking ICE worker, right? But shot himself and the detainees. Somehow that guy, because it said anti-ICE on his bullets, was 100% definitely a lefty now, if you ask the president. Thomas Crooks, they're calling a lefty. Who else? There's a bunch of them in here that they're just trying to fucking bullshit through their way and make it sound like there's more left-wing violence when a lot of these people are on the right, or at least conservative in their the way of thinking or the way that they were brought up. Like, it's crazy how the gaslighting that goes on, that is involved in these fucking meetings. It's crazy.
That read, hopefully this will give ICE agents some real terror. That's bad. This attack came the very same month that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a far-left extremist who inscribed the words, "Hey, fascist, catch." Meaning
Okay, so a far-left extremist. Since when has that been proven to be the case? Tyler Robinson, since when has that been proven? What new information has been released to suggest, and again, we'll get into more of what's going on with Tyler Robinson and the Charlie Kirk situation in the rift caused between Candice Owens and the rest of MAGA. But can somebody explain to me what new information has been exposed to prove that this guy was like a radical friggin' lefty? And the fact that they continue to try to put this Bella Ciao saying, you know, the anti-fascist song when it was definitely and has been known to have been corrupted by a different online, group, a different online community to mean something totally different. So they misinform, they misrepresent all of this information in order to fit and mold it to their narrative when it's all fucking made up. And if you dive deep into any single one of these instances, it's not hard to figure out that they're lying right through their teeth.
Catch the bullet onto the bullet shelf itself. The epidemic of
The bullet what? The bullet what? The bullet shelf?
describe the words, "Hey, fascist, catch," meaning catch the bullet, onto the bullet shelf itself.
Onto the bullet shelf itself. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to hear that one more time. What the fuck is a bullet shelf? Anybody? Any shooters in the audience? Any shooters out there that can tell me what a bullet shelf is?
This attack came the very same month that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by a far-left extremist who inscribed the words, "Hey, fascist, catch," meaning catch.
Right, and exactly. And if you've done any of your investigatory work, if you know anything about the case, again, those sayings were co-opted, were stolen and used by a different group, a subset of a community online to mean something totally different than what the original meaning was, whether it be the Ciao Bella, Bella Ciao, or any of the other fucking sayings. And again, nobody on earth, regardless of how bad you hate ICE, would write anti-ICE on a fucking bullet with a ballpoint pen to wet brass cartridges. I'm sorry, just ain't gonna fucking happen. Nobody, even if they had a Sharpie and the biggest piece of paper ever, they wouldn't write anti-ICE. They would write fuck ICE 9.9 times out of 10. In that 0.1 time, they'd write something ridiculous that wouldn't involve anti-ICE anyway. It's just not something that a human being would write.
Catch the bullet onto the bullet shelf itself.
Again, we'll move past this part, but I have absolutely no fucking idea what a bullet shelf is. I don't know. Is he talking about the casing, the cartridge, multitude of different words he could come up with there? Bullet shelf, not one of them.
Epidemic of left-wing violence and Antifa-inspired terror has been escalating for nearly a decade. At universities, Antifa has organized riotous mobs to attack campus speakers. I see it all the time. And these are...
Oh, yeah, you see it all the time. Can you give us one instance? What's one instance that you've found, or it's been investigated and found, that Antifa was organized and behind whatever bullshit on campus you're talking about? Because you see it all the time. So you should be easy for you to come off with one of these examples off the top of the dome there. Don't not too quickly because you're too pale come off, but just one example, sir. One example.
These are agitators, anarchists.
The agitators, right. Them agitators.
They're paid. And you'll find that out. You'll be finding it out very soon. You should see what we have on these people. These are bad people. These are people that want to destroy our country. We're not going to let it happen. They've used armed
By
gangs.
Destroy the country, they mean save the country. And by, like being against they're against fascists. And again, the fact that they are trying to make it seem like this is still somehow an organization like it was being represented as in 2020 by certain people on Twitter or certain people on social media that were using the name to exploit certain people, that does not represent the movement, nor did it ever represent the movement. Okay, the movement was so much bigger than those people or anything like that. And again, it's not organized. It's not you pay your dues. I'm sure there are, again, certain subsets online where you can go into these chat rooms, and I'm sure they present themselves as such. But again, that is not representative of the entire movement. Anti-fascist was just brought to us by our forefathers, by our, the best generation, the people that gave up everything to go across the fucking pond, to give up their livelihoods, to go away from their family, to fight in a foreign land for people speaking a foreign language, to uphold democracy and fight fascism. Right? You can see all the memes in the world of, okay, these were the first anti-fascists. Okay, I'd rather be like those anti-fascists, and I have absolutely no problem saying so. And to have our government now openly trying to represent anti-fascism as a terrorist organization, it just goes to show how far we've fallen and the lack of progress we've seen since World War II. All right? So not only do we now see the Israeli government now committing and perpetrating upon a people some of the same atrocities that they saw being perpetrated against their aunts, uncles, grandfathers, parents. And now to see that the anti-fascist movement to be against fascism is now being openly combated, openly brought up by our government, and being called a terrorist organization and being blamed for political violence is just goes to show, how like people think we've progressed a long way. But again, when you think of things like this, it's hard to imagine that this society has progressed as far as we hoped we would have in this amount of time, because we seem to be right back in the same place, if not fucking even dumber than before.
To assault local police in cities nationwide, and they've attacked journalists reporting on their crimes. So the journalists that report on their crimes, don't worry, you're very safe. I hope that's not going to turn you around, but they have been very threatening to people, but we're going to be very threatening to them, far more threatening to them than they ever were with us. And that includes,
and again, openly threatening, not just saying it's a terrorist organization, literally openly threatening. And as they went around the round table here, which isn't a round table, oddly enough, they just have right-wing commentators, right-wing fucking podcasters or whatever they are, openly, actively calling for violence and calling for more aggression towards Antifa.
the people that fund them, probably some of the people I know, some of the people I dine with. But if they do, they're in deep trouble. So we're going to be looking very strongly at the people that are funding these operations. When you see the signs, and they're all made out of a beautiful, beautiful paper, beautiful, nice, stiff, very expensive paper with beautiful wood.
Wait a minute. Is he about to say that you can tell that it's well funded because of the paper that they use? I'm sorry. Please tell me that's not the point that he's trying to make right there. Oh, one more time. Okay. All right. So you can tell that it's well funded.
People that are funding these operations. When you see the signs, and they're all made out of a beautiful, beautiful paper, beautiful, nice, stiff, very expensive paper with beautiful wood handles, all the same color. They come from very expensive print.
Oh, fuck. With wood handles. With wood handles. All the same wood handles, too. Holy shit. That's how you can tell, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to tell how well-funded something is, you just got to walk by and feel the thickness of the paper. Oh, we're fucking led by absolute imbeciles. The fucking paper. What is a wooden handle? Why do you need a wooden handle on a piece of paper? We know you can't lift up a bottle of water, but it doesn't mean people need fucking wooden handles on a piece of cardboard. One more time, just in case you guys are wondering how to tell how well-funded a protest is. Just look at the thickness of this signs and how well the wooden handles are made. He says they're all the same.
All made out of a beautiful paper, beautiful, nice, stiff, very expensive paper with beautiful wood handles, all the same color. They come from very expensive printing machines. These are not people that write out their signs. And
these are not just your normal Target, CVS staple fucking pieces of poster board, ladies and gentlemen. These are your professionally printed, really thick, very well done with wooden handles poster boards. Oh, what a fucking massive twat. You absolute pillock. I don't even know. That is just, and how are people not laughing at this around the table? Like, yeah, that's definitely how the that's how that's done. You just gotta see how good the paper is.
That believe in something. These are paid anarchists.
Yep.
At least 3 of these courageous journalists have personally been victims of Antifa attacks. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa thugs for his work in Andy.
Maybe he should learn how to defend himself then. If you find yourself being repeatedly beaten by a certain group, I don't know, maybe either A, stay away from that certain group, or B, get yourself in the fucking dojo. Get in the boxing ring. Learn a couple fucking self-defense techniques, dude. I'm sorry. Find a couple friends, maybe? I don't know what you want me to say, but if you're repeatedly in the same situation where you're getting your ass kicked by the same people, like, that's on you, motherfucker. That's on you. Like, how about you stay out of the territory then? Like, there's a lot of, rival gangs that know if I step foot into this territory, I'm taking my life into my own hands. That's why they stay out of that fucking territory, right? Unless it's fucking really, really necessary. But I would be very, you know what? Nothing's better than having the president of the United States go on national television in one of his press conferences to announce that you've repeatedly gotten your ass kicked by Antifa. Oh, I love it. Yeah, and this other bitch pussy over here, he's had his ass repeatedly kicked by Antifa. We should really give him a round of applause. This motherfucker's had it tough, man. Man, he can't go anywhere without getting his ass kicked. He can't. Nope, didn't even get a punch off, this pussy. But yeah, he's one of us. Oh shit! All right, it keeps going because he's going to bring up Nick Sorter, who again, these people are putting themselves in this position, right? You can see the video of that Sorter guy who, he's talking to the camera like, okay, make sure you film this. Okay, you got this, and then he actively tries to walk down the sidewalk that he knows the people are going to try to stop him, and then he gets into the scuffle, and then it's recorded, and exactly what he wanted to happen is happening. You know what I mean? The right wing's making a big thing out of it, as they do. They use all of these minute little situations to help and further their fucking, their tactics and their rhetoric and their beliefs. Oh, that's a great name. Hutch Hutchins. Hutch Hutchins. Let's go. I fucking love that one. That's a good one. Let's keep going.
Is a very serious person, too, I have to tell you. I've been watching him for a long time. Is Andy here? That's what I thought.
No, he's out getting his ass kicked by Antifa. He'll be right in. Is Andy here? No, he's wiping up the blood. Sorry, he'll be right back. He's getting his lip stitched up. He'll be here any minute. I think he was lking for his helmet in the bear spray so he can leave at the end of this. because he's really he's really shy now around big crowds.
Andy, I thought that was you. You're
I
looking.
thought that was you, but I couldn't tell with the two black eyes and the busted nose. You look good. Oh shit.
Better than you do out on those streets, huh?
He's shitting all over him. He thinks he's praising him, right? He's shitting all over this kid. A lot better than you look out in those streets. Oh, shit. This is good. Better than I thought. This is good. All right. Here we go.
Look much better. It's nice to have
The
you.
whole room's laughing at the kid. Fucking poor kid. Got his ass kicked 6 times by Antifa. Now he's going to get fucking roasted by Donald Trump in the fucking in the Oval. Here we go. All right.
You feel a little safer here, I think, maybe. Well, not that safe because you have them. You have to worry about that. But thank you very much. Andy No has been repeatedly beaten by Antifa, and including.
He said it again. He said it again. He said it again. Oh, it's like the 5th time that he said Andy No has been repeatedly beat up by Antifa.
One assault that left him with a brain.
Now he's going to go through all the injuries. Now he's going to go through them all. Okay.
Hemorrhage. Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in
here we
Portland
go.
by a flag burning mob, and we.
he was oh, he almost said he was assaulted by a flag. Ready?
Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag.
Oh, I'm having too much fun with this. Just days ago, Nick Sortor was abused and assaulted by a flag.
Burning mob, and we've made it 1-year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through.
See, it sounded to me like the president that claims to be the most pro-free speech president in history sounded to me like he just said to everybody, the world, that he took free speech away. All right, so let me see if we can play that one back, because that's interesting. That's muy interesante.
In Portland by a flag burning mob, and we've made it 1-year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. They've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it from not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but
the freedom of what? The freedom of speech. The fuck is the freedom of speech?
That basis, we're looking at it from not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about.
Did he just turn into a New Zealand? Like he just turned into a New Zealander? Freedom of speech, mate.
But never passed the courts.
And again, I just want to reiterate that I myself, you're not going to find me out there burning American flags anytime soon, right? I'm not going to be one to, kind of use that right to my power. I'm just not going to do it. But I do believe in the people's right, their ability to express their freedom of speech and do just that if they so choose, right? So I myself wouldn't desecrate the flag that way. I wouldn't. But again, I still stand up for the right of anybody else to, again, express themselves using their First Amendment rights, their right to freedom of speech, to do just that, right? So now this guy is saying, again, the guy that claims to be the most free speech president, that he just took free speech away from you. And even though that the Supreme Court ruled that burning a flag is considered to be an act of free speech, not supposedly allowed to be, penalized for, right? Prosecuted for. But now they're getting around that because now they're saying that if you light a flag on fire, it incites violence in a crowd or in a mob. So now they're trying to use that to get around the fact that it could be considered free speech to say that it's causing harm and it's causing potential harm to a crowd or other people. Hold on, there was a question went by. You wouldn't maul the flag, Brian? No, I wouldn't. I don't even like, honestly, to be truthfully honest, I don't like flying it upside down either. I've never been a big, fly the flag upside down type of guy. I know that's, it's meaningful and it's a sign of distress. But I just never myself found that to be something that I'm, willing to do or wanted to do. Again, I don't call out or, denigrate or demean anybody that finds it necessary for them to do or something that they want to do themselves. Just like I wouldn't myself burn the American flag, considering what I think it represents and stands for and how many people fought and died so that could wave freely in the wind. But again, it is your right as an American. It is your constitutional right. It is your right per the First Amendment, per the freedom of speech, to do just that. Right? Just like it's your God-given right, it's your right as an American to be able to criticize this government without fear of retribution or retaliation. So I'm not going to critique or criticize you for doing that. I just myself wouldn't. But that's why I find it so important to stand up for it. Even though I don't agree with the act, I am still going to stand up for the process. I am still going to stand up for the articles in the Constitution that gave us that power and affords anybody else that wants to engage in that action the power to do so, the power to protest. And I think that's what we should all do, even if it's not something that you yourself might engage in. Just like it's, the plight of the trans community or the plight of people of color is not necessarily something that I'm involved with directly, not something that I am impacted by directly, but it's still something that I feel it's extremely necessary to speak up about, right? And no different here. I'm not gonna look away when the president of the United States is actively saying he's taking away your freedom of speech. He's actively taking away your constitutional right, even though it's something that I myself wouldn't engage in, because I find that to be extremely hypocritical. That's not based in principle. That's not being grounded in your beliefs. So, I'd like to stick to my beliefs and stick to my principles and fight for your right to do something that I myself would not agree with or engage with, right?
This is what they do, is they incite, when you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape, and you see things happen that...
Down on tape, ladies and gentlemen. It is down on tape. We got that down on tape in the VHS room. We're getting that VHS recorder set up right now as soon as we get that in and rewinded, because the last guy, unfortunately, that had this tape wasn't kind, didn't rewind, so it's going to take us about 43 and a half minutes to get this video back at the beginning. So as soon as that's all set up, we're going to bring in the Blu-ray disc right after that, and we'll have it all set up for you. We can play those tapes for you.
that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning. Very recently, Katie Davis Court was hit in the face with a flagpole in Portland by an Antifa radical, leaving her with a very blackened eye. So, Katie, thank you very much. And I'd like to also say that I watched Nick. Where's Nick? Is Nick here? Nick? Hi, Nick.
So you get Jack Posobiec. Oh, sorry. One second. Jack Posobiec to the left. Nick Sorter, Julio Rosas. And they all have some sort of bullshit story where they themselves put themselves in a position to be attacked or provoked a group, and then are now getting the reward that they so seeked for it.
I hope you got my little note. I wrote you a note.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It helped a lot because it was a difficult situation. It was very...
Yeah, how about you turn the fucking microphone on, you buffoon? How hard was that whack to the back of the head from that fucking flagpole? Did it get you that good?
Stressful,
yeah.
And your note helped a lot. I truly appreciate it.
I thought it was terrible, actually. I thought it was terrible. So we'll talk about it a little bit. Under the last administration.
You see how stupid, look at the stupid ass. You see him look at the end there? He thinks his microphone was on. It was off the whole time. And then at the end, he goes to turn it on, realizes that it was off, and then he just turned it on. And then he has to look at Julio's microphone to be like, ah, shit, I fucked that one up, didn't I? Look at him. Watch him. He's like, ah, fuck.
Actually, I thought it was terrible.
Yep, goes down.
So
now turns it on. Now looks at the other guys and he's like, ah, shit, I fucked that one up. Nobody heard me, did they?
Department of Justice targeted faithful Catholics, Christians, and patriotic parents as domestic extremists.
Jumanji, they played Jumanji twice, and then they labeled them as domestic terrorists. Get that one out.
A little bit. Under the last administration, the Department of Justice targeted faithful Catholics, Christians, and patriotic parents as domestic extremists. They said, oh, they're
No, those are the ones that threatened to kill the teachers. Like, those are the ones that were actively being like, I know where you live. Here's where you live. We're going to post that online, and then we're going to come get you and your family. Like, those are the ones being labeled domestic terrorists, the ones showing up to the school meetings to say, I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to find you, or again, doxing the people. Like, that's the people. They weren't just going around and being like, oh, these fine people, all these parents at this committee, at this hearing, we're going to label them all terrorists. Like, it's just a bunch of bullshit. Nobody was going after Catholics. Nobody was going after Christians. If you did something and you committed a crime, or you put yourself on the fucking FBI watch list and you just happen to be a Catholic or a Christian, then that's one thing. But I don't think they were putting people on the list specifically because they were Catholic or Christians, right? We've talked about white Christian nationalism being a huge problem in this country, right? So again, it's not that they were attacking you because of it. It just was a thing, you're right? That just happened to be the through line in the investigation.
extreme because they believe in God. They're extreme because they go to a Catholic church, or evangelicals, where everybody was under the gun.
Yeah, they were all prosecuted, a ton of them. I mean, just concentration camps all over the place with Catholics and Christians, and geez, I mean, you couldn't even believe it. They were building rockets underground. We actually had to move the airplane factories into fucking caves and shit by the end of the war. Like, it was nuts. All these, no, none of that happened. Okay, all right. Well, he'd like you to believe it did.
You are a really bad, sick person, then they left you alone. Under the Trump administration, we're going after Antifa criminals, and all who fund and support their campaigns are.
All right, so I'm going to skip ahead to where he actually lets these other assholes talk. There wasn't much to go anywhere. Here's Pam Bondi, where she chimes in.
Democrats have turned a blind eye to their actions. Their hatred for President Trump and for law and order agendas fuels their violence. We've seen more than 1,000% increase in attacks against our ICE agents since January.
You know what's funny? Again, I was just going to say, they've been saying that number for so long. It's crazy that number hasn't increased or decreased. You would think with the increase in activity, you might see an increase in that number that they've made up out of whole cloth, pulling it out of their asshole as far as the number of attacks. But again, seemingly that number hasn't increased. So I guess the citizens are doing a good job of not going after ICE, and it's the ICE that's going after the citizens, because it's been 1,000% now since January. So something has to give, right? Either it has to go down or it has to go up, because the places that ICE has been sent into and the National Guard has gone up since then. So one would assume, or one could only predict, that would also go up in kind, but it hasn't, which is strange. Doesn't really make sense to her talking points.
20th. Secretary Noem is out there fighting for you firsthand to keep.
She is. And the more dogs she kills, the more puppies she shoots in the face, the better off the American public will be. The more police stations she gets to drop a deuce in, the better off the American people will be. The more costumes she puts on, the better off the American people will be. I don't know. And every pound under 60 pounds she weighs is going to be better for the American people.
Our federal officers safe, to keep our federal buildings safe. And we're not going to have it anymore.
God bless those federal buildings.
These thugs. We saw what's happening in Portland and Chicago, and you saw what happened in Dallas. No longer. This is not active.
Again, talking about the shooting at the Dallas ICE facility, again, that they're trying to portray as left-wing violence, when, again, only the detainees were murdered, only the detainees were targeted, no ICE officers were targeted, and the person killed himself. So, again, they're trying to gaslight the shit out of you and make it seem like all of these instances, even Thomas Crooks, right, the guy that took the shot at the pot shot at Donald Trump, supposedly, allegedly.
It's anarchy. We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings.
I mean, I'm glad she's speaking up against ICE. Is anybody else happy to hear Pam Bondi finally speaking up against what ICE is doing? Yeah, just listen to this. It's good to hear Pam Bondi speak up against what ICE is doing.
We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings, attack our law enforcement, and intimidate our community.
Oh, shit. So I guess, she was 4 out of 5, I guess, isn't bad. If you were 4 or 5 in a baseball game, that's one hell of a game. So I guess we could probably still give her credit. She's 4 out of 5 of them had to do with ICE. The mass, the terrorists, going after the citizens, scaring the public. She was close. She was close.
Under your leadership, President Trump, we're deploying the full might of the federal law
And
enforcement.
what the fuck? I mean, that didn't even register. How fucking hypocritical and ironic is it that she's telling Antifa, she's telling fucking Americans, people of her own country, that they can't wear masks when her own federal fucking agencies are out there specifically deployed in masks so that people don't know their identities, a lot of the time in plain clothes, unmarked. Like, the fucking irony, the hypocrisy flowing out of this administration would be enough to, I don't know, choke a couple horses. I know it would be.
To crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations led by Stephen Miller and Stephen Fink.
What are some other extremist terrorist organizations, now that you mention it? Is anybody else curious? Like, who else is on the list for this administration? Like, is it the Proud Boys? Is it the Oath Keepers? Is it, the One Percenters? Is it the fucking Boogaloo Boys? Like, who is it? Who else is on that list besides Antifa? Has anybody actually seen it or heard? I haven't heard. I'd be interested to see how many of those right-wing groups and right-wing organizations that were actively being reported as like huge domestic terrorist, problems inside this country. How many of those have been wiped off the list and totally erased? And who else is now, accompanying Antifa on that list of domestic terrorist organizations? What are your guesses?
Thank you for everything you're doing.
That's a fucking great first guess. That's a great first guess from Sensei. Probably the NAACP. Not fucking far off. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Last week, I issued a memo ordering our federal law enforcement agents, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and ATF to protect ICE officers from Antifa and other radical left-wing violence. Director Patel has been going nonstop. He and Deputy Attorney General Blanche were in Chicago yesterday. While Secretary Noem was in Portland, we are around this country fighting against this domestic terrorism.
Guys, I've shown you, probably 20, 25 clips over the last 2 or 3 days to show you just how well her agents are fighting across the country. The one we just showed today where the priest or the pastor got shot right in the fucking dome piece by 3 masked men on a rooftop 35 feet away from danger. Or again, the multitude of pictures we could see where ICE agents immediately hopped out of vehicles with weapons drawn, or just weapons drawn to passerbys in vehicles, or again, the assault of pregnant women, or the assault of the father of 3 Marines. The list goes on and on and on. And again, if you're not convinced just yet as to what the outright goal of ICE and Border Patrol is, then again, just go look up some of these videos. If you haven't seen them already, you can go back to any one of these episodes that we've had in the last couple of days, and you will see very quickly the egregious nature of the assaults against the peaceful protesters by ICE that are actively trying to provoke and actively attacking unprovoked, being unprovoked in the first place. It is very disturbing, Bethany. Absolutely very disturbing. Which again is begs the question as to like how far down this dictatorial fucking rabbit hole are we going to fall? Like, how many rights need to be stripped? How much power needs to be afforded to this fucking prick? How many agencies does he need to control? How much of the Constitution does he need to rip up before we take action? And great to see, like we showed earlier, the people of Chicago. In case you guys are just joining us too, this is from earlier. This is about an hour ago, 45 minutes ago, posted from Chicago. Again, I don't know if it's spontaneous or if this was scheduled, but to protest what ICE is doing in Chicago as well. But again, I find and will predict that these things will become more and more prominent, more and more frequent. And people are going to be more and more engaged as we continue to see the violence, the uptick in violence, that ICE is ready to enact against fucking American citizens. I implore you to remember that these are American citizens in the overwhelming majority of cases, and or people that are actively going through the asylum process in the correct legal way that are still being stripped of their rights. Right? Let's get back to this.
Apple and Google take down the ICE block apps. Hope they continue to comply with that. It's threatening.
It's all right. We don't need to. I know there's a bunch. And then they go around the table where Kristi Noem speaks.
Members or affiliated with them. And I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again. They have been
I want to
so
thank the guy that scrubbed the gun residue off my hand because, again, I just actively, as I do, killed another one of my puppies before I came on here. And, again, it would have been a very prominent smell had I not got that gunpowder residue washed off my hand. So I want to thank that guy, whoever did that in the background. And then it goes on to Crazy Eyes Cash.
Time because the mainstream media won't cover it. They're putting their lives on the line. They're standing up for the flag. The least we can do is stand up for them. So you have my thanks.
Who talks next? Who do I pass it to? Pam? Was it Pam that talks next? Or is it Nick? Nick, is that you? Sorry, Nick.
More of your stories than I do theirs because you guys are putting out the truth, and we deserve.
And then who talks next? I think they pass it to they pass it to the creators now. So this is Nick Sortor, who we heard earlier. This is where he pulls out the American flag that he saved, like he risked his life to save this American flag, ladies and gentlemen. And then Donald Trump asked him for the flag, asked him if he knows who burnt it, asked him to give it to Pam Bondi so that Pam Bondi could openly and actively start prosecutions on the person that burnt that flag. Right? Even though, again, his law hasn't been passed as far as I know. Has it? It might have been at this time. I'm not sure when this actually took place, but I don't think at the time of this person burning this flag that Donald Trump's new fucking bullshit law about 1 year in jail and, inciting a riot, burning a flag had actually taken place yet. So whether or not he can actively prosecute in this position, I don't think so, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it really matters to him. He'll just continue to send his DOJ after anybody he sees fit. So here's this Nick Sortor guy, in case you want to put a face to the name.
Never expected it to happen. I thought that they were maybe removing me for my own safety. It never crossed my mind that I was the one that was being arrested for a crime after I was just thrown into a hole. I heard from the Department of Homeland Security after I had gotten out of jail. And
should also be a crime to actively insert yourself in a position that is going to cause chaos, that has the potential to kick things off. Like, isn't that also a fucking a legal means, something legally that we need to think about? Like, you don't just interject yourself into a position that has the overwhelming potential to kick things off in which people may or may not be fucking harmed. Like, that should also be a thing, right? Like, you should be able to be fucking have your wits about you and be like, I should be able to assess this situation and be like, I should probably not interject my dumb white ass into this situation where I can't fucking defend myself and then actively call fucking, cry wolf at the end of it.
I won't say
good to see that he actively got his microphone to work, as you can see by the green light.
Exactly who it was, but somebody very close to Secretary Noem over here said that they were
clearly wasn't her dog.
Legitimately worried for my safety in the Portland jail. But
that one guy? There was that one guy that was legitimately concerned about your safety in the Portland jail. Let me see if I can fast forward here to where he passes the... Let's see. I think he actively pulls out the flag at some point here. Let's see.
I think that had you not done, the single most powerful thing you've done to deal with this scourge has been acknowledging that Antifa is a real thing. I genuinely believe there would be people at these tables who would be dead
today. No
today.
idea or any care in the world as to who that is.
Okay. And would have been
Brandy Cruz, not sure who the fuck she is. But let me see. I think it was right after this that he pulls out the flag here. Let me see.
Cleaned up. Andy, do you have something? Thank you very much. I'm glad you no longer have TDS. I feel very good about that. Thank you.
Is this the same guy that got his ass kicked 43 times by Antifa? He's still going in on him. Let's see. Fast forward.
Violent rioting in Portland. And it was the first time that I saw groups dressed in black with their faces covered. This is 4 years before COVID.
4 years before ICE officers are doing it in our nation's capital and other cities. Where does he fucking pass this? Here's where Jack Posobiec speaks.
As well, sir, and all the staff. We are now under that threat every single day. And working there at Turning Point USA, and I've spent just about the last month out there. And
no idea who this guy is.
Which is a cartel. So you have these people who are working basically in concert with other terrorist groups to say that we're here, we're present, and we're gonna attack federal agents and people who are gonna expose what we do. And so, to be clear, political violence, sustained political violence that we're seeing in this country is not a both sides issue. I was,
okay. So who brutally murdered Melissa Hortman then and her husband? Can you just explain that one to me? Can you explain to me the people that have taken shots at Donald Trump? Again, the judge's home that burnt, just any one of the school shootings. Again, the bullshit that's coming out of this is just, I don't know. You could light this gaslight on fire. It's so fucking thick. That's how much gaslight is going on in this, right? So Let me see. I just want to get to where he hands over the flag because this is just another dumb moment in this whole thing. Oh, here's another one. Here's another moment.
Huge part due to the media. So my message right now is for you guys, because 2 years ago
They clearly don't care about whoever this woman is because they never show her face as far as I could tell. But this is the woman, whoever it is actively calling for more aggression towards ICE, to be actively more brutal towards ICE. I mean, towards towards Antifa. My apologies. Did I already miss the part where he gives the flag back? Because it goes on forever. Let me see. I thought it was back here. Because he brings out like the burnt flag, and then he says he's got another one, and then Donald Trump says to give it to Pam Bondi. Is this it?
Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, Brandy Cruz,
Let this happen. And a pattern and practice.
Appreciate that.
And
You give the information, it would be great.
Oh yeah, here, right here.
Right.
Ready?
Do you know who? That's right.
Flag. So remember, you put out a truth right after I
That's right. I saw that.
took this flag from that man that was burning it in the
I
street.
saw. Do you know who he is?
Oh yeah, I know exactly who it is.
So why don't you give it to Pam? Give it to the Attorney General, and let's start prosecutions.
Yeah.
You know who it is. Okay, give the flag to the Attorney General so the Attorney General can start prosecutions. Again, directly already saying, not 10 minutes after he said he's already stripped you of your freedom of speech, talking about actively prosecuting somebody for that exact fucking show of freedom of speech. Fucking unreal. All right, we're running out of time here, but I think you kind of get the gist of the rest of this bullshit. It's just they kind of go around the table more and more to tell their stories about how they've all been beat up somehow or demeaned or fucking made fun of or whatever it may be by Antifa, and they're really upset and their butthole is really puckered up, and the snowflakes are no longer white, they're brown, and all that bullshit, whatever you want to talk about. All right, so let's get on to, again, the latest craziness in this situation, because this whole thing has blown up in a way that I didn't even think that fucking we could see coming. This whole like conspiracy theory fucking mill that is going around, the Candice Owens, Charlie Kirk, Israel involvement bullshit that's going on. So not only is it Tim Pool that has to talk about it, but there's obviously there's this video that has recently come out, which is kind of talking about some new autopsy results. As kind of exposed by people close to the situation. I've seen a couple clips from a couple people. I don't think there's actually been like an official autopsy released, but there are people close to Charlie that have been kind of revealing some of the information that they got from the autopsy. And now people are doing the most work in order to try to, disprove or, confirm whatever information has been coming out. And it's been going wild. And I think it started, again, I think everybody knows just how crazy Candice has been ever since this thing happened with her conspiracy theories. It was an underground tunnel and it was a microphone that exploded and this and that. But she's been getting the views, so I don't know why she's going to stop. I don't think she really has incentive to stop when she's getting, 2.1 million views in 22 hours from this bullshit that she's putting out. But let's see if we can dive into a little bit of Tim Pool's bullshit here and what he thinks of the whole MAGA rift that has now developed and the new information that has come out either by the text messages from Candice Owens. Again, we went over a little bit this morning talking about some of Charlie's last conversations that have been screenshotted, and those have been reported to be factual. It has been reported by somebody close to Charlie and somebody higher up in the Turning Point organization that those text messages were real text messages, a screenshot that they themselves took, that they sent into the government, and that somehow throughout the government, they gave it to somebody in the government, and the government passed that information on to Candice Owens. So again, that's how well run this government is. That's how transparent and professional this government is, that this Turning Point member sent in a screenshot of a conversation that he says he thought may help or whatever with the investigation. Sent it in, didn't hear anything else about it, and then somehow it got from inside the federal government to fucking Candice Owens' phone. right? So that's how closely connected all of these people are inside this. So what do you say we take a look at just a little bit? We're not going to go through too much. I just kind of want to breeze through a little bit of the bullshit and show you just how big the rift is and how many people are saying different things. And nobody, not a single group, I don't believe, is believing Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, or anything put out by law enforcement in this situation at all. So let's dive into a little bit of this. I'll get you out of here in just a few minutes. Hit that like button, please. I appreciate it. I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics. I really do appreciate you guys joining me and all the help that you guys show me in this channel, all the love that you guys show and appreciation, because again, we have absolutely nothing hidden behind a paywall. It costs you absolutely nothing at any time, on any day, at any moment. If you do not want to come out of pocket to watch any of my content, to watch my videos, the shorts, any of the live streams, if you don't want to spend $1, you don't have to spend $1 to do so. The great part about it is if you find yourself coming back, if you find yourself liking what you're watching and liking what you're hearing and finding yourself being on a similar side of history as me, then you are absolutely able to, if you're in the financial position to do so, to come out of pocket with $1 or $2 and support independent media. So I don't have to sell you couches, so I don't have to sell you green pills or blue pills or whatever the fuck to try to keep myself on the air and to try to keep food in my stomach, because, being honest, it is a struggle at this point. It hasn't been as easy as I would have hoped to try to make up for the lost revenue I had in plumbing. So, to be open and honest with you guys, as I always am, it's been, quite a struggle, even with the fantastic people that continuously support this channel. Again, that's why I say I'd like to spread the wealth and share the burden between a lot more people so that it's not always on the backs of the same people. But just being open and honest, as I always am with you guys, it's been a struggle, and it's an ongoing thing where, I'm looking at the finances, trying to figure out if this is actually something that can continue to go on. So I appreciate you guys that always are helping out in independently, helping contribute to independent creators, whether it be myself or anybody else in this sphere, anybody else on the left side, anybody else on the right side of history. So, I appreciate you guys. And I would just think about, if you're in the financial position to do so, there's Venmo up in the corner there you can take a picture of. There's also a PayPal. You can become a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member just underneath me. And you can also give super stickers, super chats, that type of thing. Everybody that has done so far, whether it be Venmo or through YouTube, stick around, because at the end I give everybody a shout out and highlight and appreciate all the contributions that you guys have made. So just a couple minutes of this and then we'll get you guys out of here. All right.
Candice Owens has stated that 24 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he told multiple people, "I think they're going to kill me." She talked about...
that's fucking kind of crazy, right? That's kind of crazy. Not only if it's not real, it's crazy to suggest, but if it did happen and it was real, it's crazy that it did happen. For 24 hours before the fact that you were shot in public to be like, I think they're going to kill me. I think that's something that may be relevant. That doesn't lead us to any road as to giving us any clues as to who may have done it or anything like that. And again, this is in no way corroboration or confirmation or, giving flowers to any of these assholes. This is mainly and specifically to highlight the fact that MAGA has really been self-absorbed in a civil war, but that civil war since Charlie Kirk got shot has been more of a civil war against themselves than it has been against the left. Right. So it's kind of wild to see. And again, no flowers for any of these assholes. I'm not corroborating or confirming or saying I believe any of these conspiracy theories whatsoever. I want to make that abundantly fucking clear right off the bat. But I am highlighting the fact that the people that used to be on the same team, a lot of the people that were on the fucking same platforms and on the same stages together are now actively going at each other's throat. And the people that they put in power, the people like Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, Donald Trump, they're not believing the bullshit. They're not believing the rhetoric. Yeah, when it comes to Charlie Kirk's murder, when it comes to support of Israel and their genocide in Gaza, or when it pertains to the Epstein files in the release of that investigation. So a lot of different ways that these people are now finding ways to rift with each other, right? So that's why I'm pointing this out, just to be abundantly clear once more.
This on her show. Now, slightly before this, she had released text messages where Charlie Kirk said that he was being left with no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. That was about 48
And these
hours.
seem to be the text messages that really have sparked the flame, like have really added fuel to the fire. This whole fucking disagreement, non-believer type of bullshit that's going on between these different factions that are now warring. Like these text messages that I think he goes on to show here that we showed earlier on in the show from Charlie Kirk, where he acknowledges he lost a $2 million donor, which again, not only is kind of relevant to her conspiracy theory, but also goes to show just how much money was flowing through the Turning Point's coffers, right? Where if one donor is enough to take away $2 million a year, like who knows what the total amount being donated and who knows the total amount being run through the coffers of Turning Point actually adds up to? Like, so that's another part of this conversation that needs to be brought up. Like, I know we know that there's a lot of billionaire funding and money behind the right wing, but I think would still be astonished if we found out just how much, right?
Before he was assassinated. Andrew Colvett of Turning Point USA has confirmed that these texts are correct. He went on to say that Charlie was still pro-Israel. And
so that's the guy that, again, I think has taken over for Charlie on his podcast. One of, I would assume, Charlie's good friends, somebody in the higher ups at Turning Point, that did confirm that these text messages were real, and it was a screenshot that he himself took. So just to kind of give a little bit more information. Let's see if I can, does he actually show the text messages here? Yeah, here they are right here. But I want to see if he plays what Candice said here. Right. Let's go.
Did that. I mean, when you say Charlie says he's going to leave the pro-Israel cause, then 48 hours, he's killed. Well, who else are you referring to? Islam? I don't know. But let's get into it, baby. Let's make everybody angry. And, well, it is what it is. Let's play the video.
One more thing rather explosively.
Do you see what he knows there's no winning for him in this, right? Like, do you see how he just said, like, let's make everybody angry, right? So he wants desperately to support Candace Owens because he loves Candace Owens, but he also wants desperately to be on the good graces of the people at Turning Points, right? Because there's a lot of money flowing through there. There's a lot of opportunities flowing through there, especially with the vacuum created in the absence of Charlie Kirk. I mean, this all is, again, just added on to what we found out about Erica Kirk, how she was involved in Trump's pageants, right? How she met Charlie at the fucking Wailing Wall on a retreat in Israel. The nonsense that we've seen from the crime scene being reconstructed, like literally broken down and rebuilt in a matter of days after this shooting, the cameras being taken down just minutes after Charlie was shot, actually using the chair that Charlie was sat on to fucking stand on to remove the cameras from the background. Like the differences in the inconsistencies in the investigation that we've heard, the guy, what he was wearing, where he had the gun, how many times the gun was fucking dismantled and put together, the screwdriver, the bullets, what it was written on the bullets, how the gun was found, what we now know if we get to this video here with the autopsy information, where the autopsy is now saying that the bullet hit and ended up. A lot of the people that have like in-depth knowledge of how bullets work, ammunition, firearms, are now saying that even makes it more ridiculous. It even makes it more unbelievable. Which is, again, even crazier to think that it could get even more unbelievable. But let's see if Tim goes on here.
3 people told me off record. 2 people who have this in a written communication from Charlie. One who is a Turning Point USA donor, and I would say very much one of the white knights in this. The very day before Charlie Kirk died, he expressed that he thought he was going to be killed. He told these people, I think they're going to kill me. Okay. He did not express that to me. So I am telling you this.
And just for the sake of time, let's skip into where she goes over the text messages. So we showed this earlier today, played them a little bit. So these are the text messages. It says, Charlie Kirk just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candice. Ugh. Charlie also says, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this. Charlie also says, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Please don't. And then somebody else goes on to say, please don't invite Candice. They may not feel good short term, but it's not good long term. In my opinion, like all groups, you're getting to the wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times. After the dust settles a bit, maybe, and it goes on there.
It's not just some woman.
And this
saying,
is the
"Here's what I
gentleman.
think."
This is the guy that corroborates the fact that these were this was an actual set of text messages and a screen grab that he shared, gave to the federal fucking government, the authorities, and somehow that was leaked to Candace Owens. So check this out.
To address some of the things that have been going around on public, namely about a group text chain that has been made known and released by Candace Owens. And I just want to address it head on because, that was a screen grab that I had shared with people. So it is authentic. And I want to go into it because I actually am really excited that the truth is out there.
Right, so we don't need to go into his bullshit, but that's him confirming that it was an actual fucking text thread. And then we'll go on to the response here. Ready?
As well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright. Okay, Charlie was done. He said it explicitly that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that?
Right, so she goes over the text messages there, and then for the sake of time, we'll bring this on real quick. So this is just, again, some of the, admittedly, this is a guess, but I am just guessing that this is a more conservative-leaning, a more Republican-leaning channel on this one, but it's a firearms channel, and again, this is talking about the new info from the Charlie Kirk autopsy, and if it fits the FBI narrative, Tyler Robertson being the shooter. So again, we'll just kind of skim through this to give you a little bit of what they're now questioning as far as the autopsy info is concerned as well.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. And in a wild turn of events, as if this Charlie Kirk situation needed any more of those, we now have a couple different influencers who have come out and confirmed that Charlie Kirk did in fact have an autopsy, which is what we really would expect. However, they are claiming they actually know exactly what is said in that medical examiner's report, and we're going to take a look at what this report actually says.
Right,
and I
so
got
here's
to tell
the
you guys,
first instance.
I don't know how to put
just
this
again
nice.
for the sake of time. Here's the first instance he's
They
talking about.
Let me know that the injury took place right below the jaw in the C2.
So he's talking about information that he received from somebody close to Charlie or close to Turning Points that had actually talked to the doctor that performed the autopsy, and he's giving just the information that I guess he can out of this. So let's see what he explains.
The bullet crashed through C2 all the way through C7. And then they found the bullet lodged.
Again, very specific in its details, very specific in, depicting exactly what vertebra it hit. But it doesn't make sense right off the bat if you take a look at where he's pointing on his neck, right? Listen.
The injury took place right below the jaw in the C2.
Well, how the hell did that happen if he got shot from this side? How would it, if he's getting shot from this angle, how would the bullet get over here? And how did we see what looked to be an exit wound on this side? All right, so already doesn't make sense.
The bullet crashed.
You can hear the guy that knows a lot about firearms, I'm sure, in ballistics and how bullets react, saying in the background, because that doesn't fucking line up automatically right there.
Through C2 all the way through C7.
Right, so that's the one guy, and then this was the other creator here that he talks about that also said something similar.
What was severed, what killed him, what
rewind it.
And how, I don't want to say
autopsy report.
Right
I
here.
confirmed, obviously, because I have connections, and I confirmed that the autopsy was done. I don't want to say too much, but the autopsy yielded where the entry wound was and how the bullet killed him. It's already been determined. They found the bullet lodged in his body. They can tell you exactly where, what was severed, what killed him, where the bullet traveled from his neck down through his body. They have it all, fragmentation of the round that spouted through his body. They have all of that.
All right, so they have all of that. So let's just see the work that this guy does, and he does. He kind of goes serious here, right? So he pulls this up, and then just to kind of give you a little crash course. This is supposedly the angle reported by law enforcement that the angle of the shot came in, right? So this is, let me get out of the way here so you can see the full screen. So he's even got the angle from in front of, so how offset the shooter was supposed to have been, and what angle, of elevation the shot was supposed to have come at, right? And listen to what he does here.
We know that, according to the medical examiner report, this 30-06 round came in, hit him in the C2, traveled down. All right, you guys are going to.
So as reported, the C2, you can see where the C2 is, right? So just kind of lines up with the top half of your bottom jaw. If you want to, kind of give a representation to the front of your skull. So C1 at the very base of your skull, C2, C3 all the way down, right? So here we go.
Some huge problems with this right away, but let's go ahead and, just look at this objectively. All right, we got a protractor out. Let's put that right here on the C2. Okay. We do know, again, from where Tyler Robinson was shooting, it was a 9-degree slope with a 9-degree offset, essentially meaning almost directly on at a 9-degree slope, which we can travel out from our protractor from the C2.
All right, so he set it up there, not only with the, the direction of, supposedly in front of him that he came from, but also the elevation that the shot was supposedly taken at per the reports from the investigations, right? Now, what do you guys see here? What do you guys notice? That it looks to me like the shot would have gone straight through Charlie's face. It would have gone straight through his jaw and through his mouth in order for that bullet to strike the C2 vertebrae like the fucking autopsy claims to have said it does, right? And then not only does it say that it hits the C2 vertebrae, but once it hits the C2 vertebrae, it bounces straight down, somehow fragments, bouncing straight back up again, like it goes back and forth 5 times, right? And I got news for you. Again, if it was a 30-06, not only would it blow through his teeth, would it blow through his jaw, would it blow through his spine, but it would blow through the back as well.
To here at 9 degrees. Perfect. All right, as we pull the protractor off, what's the first huge glaring issue you guys are going to see here? Oh, well, if Charlie Kirk was sitting level, sort of parallel to the ground with his jaw, which he was, let me show you that real quick. All right, so we can see Charlie Kirk is not got his head all the way back like this. He's sitting pretty much flat, looking at the crowd.
Basically just to show that he's level-headed and just to show if the shot was supposedly coming from this angle here, it'd be very difficult for it to fucking hit on this side of his face. Not only that, but he goes through just a little, he pushes it just a little more so you can actually see
sort of
the
jaw parallel to the ground as he gets hit. Boom, hit. So you can see that, right?
Right, so it's difficult. I'll fast forward just to not to, to avoid the gross stuff, obviously.
That would have hit him in the teeth.
But let me see. I can fast forward even more, and it shows this is where it shows, let me see. I'll show where it says that it bounced. So here's where it says how many times it bounced. Ready? Here you go.
Okay. This almost makes me laugh doing this. That then refracts off the body armor.
And again, he's just doing different theories, right? So he's even kind of trying to disprove, the people that are saying he was still wearing body armor, even though it's been disproved that he was wearing body armor. He wasn't wearing body armor, but he's just going through all of the certain situations that people could even attempt to fathom and create to suggest that how that bullet could have done what the autopsy, per these, creators, admittedly, so they could be describing it wrong or be misinformed or whatever the fuck. But we'll have to find out when it comes out. But that just kind of turns us and leads us to this too, because I don't know, but now Candice Owen she's having dreams. So see if I can get to this. Listen to this.
I asked her in the dream, is it a boy? Is it a girl? And she said, it's a boy. I woke up and I immediately texted my producer in real life and I said, hey, you're pregnant, just so you know, it's a boy.
Okay, so now she's talking about how she predicted through a dream that she had that her producer was pregnant. Now she's going to go on to tell you that she had a very vivid dream about Charlie and how that gave her some insight as to what may have happened. Again, loony.
We found out that she was pregnant 1 week later. She had no idea when I texted her, and it's something that we reflected on a couple of months later because she was just totally shocked looking back on it. And this is our text chain from, you can see.
Right, so she shows the text chain that I'm sure is in no way made up, where the person says, you texted me 6/16 and I think I got pregnant 6/26. So she's not sure when she got pregnant. And even if she did get pregnant that day, it was still 10 days after. But again, she wants to give Candice Owens credit for that happening again, a full 10 days after something was said. But anyway, let me just fast forward a little bit, because then she tries to use this as justification to set up her theory as to why the vivid dream she just had about Charlie should be taken seriously. So listen.
Visited me. It was an insanely vivid dream. He was on his way. And she said, that is so bizarre. My mom also texted me that week saying that she had see, I believe people can communicate in dreams on their way in and on their way out of this world.
Okay, so that's a whole setup here for her dream that she had about Charlie. That's a whole setup. She got this. She went back and found this screen grab from September 12th, 2023 at 8:20 p.m. apparently. She did some scrolling, ladies and gentlemen, in order to pull that out of her fucking case, in order to pull that out of her phone book. But here, let's see where the setup goes.
I similarly, like I just said, had...
Is she sped up? She might be sped up. Yeah, she is. My apologies. Well, I'm not apologizing, but yes, just to let everybody know, she is sped up a little, and she's not on the wacky cracky.
A vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so
Charlie came to Candice Owens this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. In her dreams, a very vivid dream, she was approached and received Charlie's soul through dream, and Charlie said that he was betrayed. And that has given her even more power, even more insight in fucking fight, in aggression, in pursuing these investigations to find out just exactly what happened to Charlie. One more time, let me see. Ready?
I similarly, like I just said, had a vivid dream this weekend, and Charlie came to me and he told me that he was betrayed. And so for me, you don't have to believe that, but I do believe that. And it was the immediate sense I got, actually. And I don't know who exactly it is that betrayed him, but I also felt in the dream that it assumed.
He didn't tell you? Would you think that would be something that would come up in the conversation, right? Like, oh, Charlie, I appreciate you, visiting me from beyond the grave. I appreciate you, taking time to take a journey up from hell and visit me. And while you're here, you're saying that you were betrayed. Can I just keep you for another second? And maybe this would go a long way in helping my investigations. And I could probably, break the internet if you were to tell me this. Who betrayed you? Like, wouldn't that be like a pertinent question you'd want to ask the soul that came back to visit you in your dreams? Like, what a missed opportunity that was from Candice to get the actual person, the actual answer to the question that this guy just traveled all the way from hell to give her. So, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, I have run out of time for this evening. So why don't we end out on this good note? I'm not sure how this has progressed, but it is good to see our fellow Americans out in force while also acting peacefully and using their God-given rights to peacefully protest through the streets of this country. So I appreciate you guys in Chicago, and I appreciate everybody else throughout this country that's actively fighting the good fight, actively out there representing democracy and fighting for justice in this country. I really do appreciate all you guys that support this channel as well. Let me make sure I get into all the Venmos so I can thank you, unbelievable, fabulous patriots that are actually patriots. First and foremost, thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you so much, Thomas. Thank you so much, Nancy, again. Thank you so much, James, Roxanne, and Allison. Thank you so much, moms. You guys are absolutely fantastic and take such good care of me over there. Let me make sure that I'm thanking everybody and highlighting everybody here on YouTube as well. So first and foremost, Jolie, thank you so much. Shout out to you. Such Christ-like behavior. Member for 9 months. I appreciate you, Jolie. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. Michael McAndrews been here for 13 months. Says, hey, Jolie. Appreciate that very much, Michael McAndrews. Appreciate your support. Shout out to you. Shout out to Susie Jones. Been here for 9 months. Let's go. I love to see these membership milestones. Hi, Brian. Hi, Briantologist. Right back at you, Susie. Nancy, you unbelievable saint, you. Happy birthday once again from not only everybody here at Blunt Politics, but from Logan and Mel and I as well. Thank you so much for your generous contributions, both on Venmo and here on YouTube. It goes a long, long way in helping this channel. Shout out to Babyface Finster. Thanks, Brian. Great show. Thanks for keeping us updated on Ukraine. My pleasure, brother. I do appreciate you guys as always. Very much so for representing and supporting Ukraine, because I know we have a lot to contend with, a lot to deal with here in our own country. So it'd be very easy for people to, kind of tune out from these, the situations that are taking place abroad right now. So I appreciate you guys sticking in it, and enduring the onslaught of bad news that we've been facing lately. So thank you, Babyface. I appreciate that. Shout out to What's Their Name as well. Thank you so much for that $5 super sticker. I appreciate you. I promise that goes a long way and will be put to good use. JD, siempre antifascista. I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you so much. That's going right in the swear jar as well. Let's see who's next. Daphne, shout out, brother. Let's go. Let's happen. What's going on, my dude? What's happening? I appreciate that. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Make sure everybody in the chat is thanking Dave there for the 10 gifted memberships. And I would, as I always say, make sure you think about re-upping on that membership. If it expires, think about coming up for another month. It does go a long way in making sure this channel doesn't fall flat on its face, I promise. So shout out to you, Dave. I appreciate that. Shout out to Josh. It's like Fragile. It must be Italian. I appreciate that. What a good movie. I got to watch that. I haven't seen that in a while. Dad, what's the update on the Bruins, by the way? What's the score of the Bruins game? I didn't see any updates. Not that I had a ton of chance to look at the chat. 3-1 Bruins. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go, people. Let's go, baby. Even though that's Dick Vitale and that's NCAA basketball, but still, you get the drift. You get the drift. All right, 1-0. Starting off in the good way. Starting off on the right foot, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right, let's continue with the list. Sorry, sidetrack. Thank you, JD, again, my man. Babyface. Oh, let's see. I think I missed one. Babyface Finsta said, I'd give you 1,000 if I had it. I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it. You know what I mean? I don't. For some reason, that just seems way too excessive. I have problems, honestly, asking you guys to donate the $1 or $2 that, I think should be the maximum. Like that should be, the perfect amount for everybody in the chat to give, where it again would make so everybody, or some people had to give more or less. But I don't know. That just seems exorbitant. I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. I appreciate you, wanting to do that. But I don't know. It seems wrong to me, even though that's how I'm surviving. It wouldn't seem right, but I appreciate you doing anything you can do. Like I said, $1, $2 is more than enough, goes a long way. And again, even if you can't do that stuff, do all the free stuff, like, share, subscribe, send the show out to your friends and family. That stuff goes just as long a way to help this channel as everything else financially as well. So thank you, Babyface. I appreciate that. Thank you, JD, again, for the $7, for the subscribe and the mod love. I appreciate that. Thank you, Brenda, as well, for being here for 11 months in thanking and the love for Crustacean Nation. I do appreciate that. And I love the little name you guys gave that. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I will see you guys. What's today? I always forget what day it is at the end of the day. Today's Wednesday, so I'll see you for tomorrow's Thursday show. That's going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific here on the West Coast. So make sure you're hitting that notification bell. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to report on. I do want to make sure that I'm reminding you guys, anybody that's good at this investigatory work, do a deep dive into Acre Trader, JD Vance, and Peter Thiel, and see if we can pull up any dirt that we could use on the show. Again, I know there's got to be people in the chat that are much better and may have some more time on their hands to do that. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. As always, stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive. Keep your head in the swivel. Find your next protest. Find your nearest rally. Just like the people of Chicago, let's unite together. Let's get out there peacefully and protest against this bullshit fascism that has now got us by the fucking balls in this country. But I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody, for your kind and generous donations. And thank you for the support for everybody that likes, shares, and subscribes. Again, we're on our way to 15,000 subscribers. Please, even if you think you're subscribed to the channel, make sure on the way out, just double check to see if you are. Because a lot of people, again, they watch and they're not subscribed because they either think it costs something or they already think they are when they might not be. So please check that out. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you guys. I will see you tomorrow. I'm Boston Brian. This has been Blunt Politics. Keep kicking ass, all right, ladies and gentlemen? Keep kicking ass because we are going to take this victory down. I know we're in a tough fucking situation right now, but again, like I said, every action and policy that this administration enacts right now is just giving us more ammunition, more fuel for the fire going into midterms, and is stoking more anger and aggression and frustration in the American people. So you don't forget that, all right? As bad as it is, we can use this to our benefit come midterms. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Let me see if I can find this exit somewhere. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Peace.
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular.
Appreciate you guys. Free Palestine. Fuck ICE. Fuck Donald Trump. Slava Ukraine. Heroim Slava. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
calling me Little Marco. And I'll admit, the guy, he's taller than me, he's like 6'2", which is why I don't understand why his hands are the size of someone who's 5'2".
Referred to my hands, if they're small, something else must be small.
Here you got a little chubby going there.
I'm just dandy. I got a bowl of chocolate pudding in my underpants.
You'll have a group of Venezuelan killers, street gangs, occupying the town with MK-47s. I know that gun very well. I got to know. I've become an expert on guns. China has total respect for Donald Trump and for Donald Trump's very, very large. They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated? Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets.
Or go fuck yourself.
My superpower's being honest. I will eat my neighbors.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating.
My superpower's being honest. I will eat my neighbors. Cacophony, a crescendo, a finale, a coup de grace.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tam tank.
I'm just an average guy who read public documents where the elite said they were going to enslave us and destroy America. And I'm not going to be like yuppie scum and deny the threat to my country. I'm going to fight back.
Is there anything worse than white people? White people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones.
Get off my plane.
Bad news, bad news. Even when it's good news, it's bad news.
Taking it back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses. Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Call them dumps, big massive dumps.
Obama.
Yesterday's a hard word for me. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable. I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. You're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your... Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late.
Our army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.